And welcome to another episode of Dos and a Half Cincos. This is episode number 37. As always, I'm your host, David.
And I'm Stuart.
I'm Ben.
Oh, I didn't realize we had Rick on the show today.
Yeah.
But today we will be covering Dredd, or if some of us accidentally watched the Sylvester Stallone version, Judge Dredd.
Wait,
And
what do you mean the Sylvester Stallone version?
the original
Vanilla
Judge
Dredd.
Yeah,
Wait,
Basic Dredd. Wait, what movie were you guys supposed to see?
sidebar. I didn't know there's two Dredds.
Bullshit.
Well, as we've been doing over the last couple of weeks, we will also be covering Street Sharks in our Shark Dive. This is season 3, episode 1, season premiere. Whoop whoop. Called Jurassic Shark. I guess I also wanted to check in. What else have you guys seen this week besides our movie of the week, Dredd, and our Street Shark episode?
I have been watching. Well, I think the season just started, but the new season of What We Do in the Shadows. Have you guys watched that? Have you watched the movie?
What do we do in the shadows?
Or What We Do in the Shadows?
What is that?
What did you do in the shadows?
What'd you do, Ben?
It's private.
For those of us who haven't seen it, what is that series about?
It is based off of an indie movie that came out in I can't remember, early 2010s. It was one of the first movies that was done by Taika Waititi. You might know him as the director of Thor Ragnarok, or more recently, Jojo Rabbit. It was probably one of my favorite comedies that came out within the last decade. It's like a documentary style, think of The Office, except dealing with vampires.
A mockumentary.
Yeah, mockumentary.
Like Spinal Tap.
Yes, with vampires.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Wait, that's a mockumentary?
This is Spinal Tap.
Yes, This is Spinal Tap. Otherwise, it doesn't count, Stu. You have to say this is Spinal Tap.
As we've learned from the Blockbuster game. Yep.
But yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite comedies of the past 10 years. It stars Taika Waititi, Jermaine Clement, had a whole bunch of New Zealand folks in it, and it did so well it pretty much launched Taika Waititi up into mainstream, and it spun off on its own TV show, which was really, really good. The first season finished, and now the second season just starting. Lots of cameo appearances. I don't want to spoil a lot of them, but damn, the cameos are really fucking good. Fucking good.
Are the same characters from the movie in the series?
No, it is. They
totally
are different characters.
Okay.
Yeah, they are different characters, but it is still within the same kind of world.
Same idea. Okay.
Well, okay. The movie focuses on a group of vampires in. It's not in New Zealand, is it? Well, it's not America, but the
Staten
TV
Island.
show. The TV show focuses on Staten Island.
Okay.
The movie, I'm not really sure where. It's not here though. But yeah, I would definitely recommend you check it out. At least the movie, if anything.
It's probably pretty applicable to the situation that's happening kind of right now. If you take the vampire portion out, right, them being all stuck together.
Oh yeah, they definitely focus on that a lot, about like just boredom of them trying to find something to do. It doesn't really focus. It's not like Interview with a Vampire. It's more.
It's not serious. It's more silly.
No, it's definitely really silly. It's more of just focusing on their downtime of them not killing people,
not doing vampire stuff.
Yeah, them just like figuring out what the hell to do. Really, just passing time. It's pretty great.
Okay. What about you, Stu? What have you been checking out?
Not much really. I haven't really been watching too much stuff. Just trying to I'm trying to work my way through Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Ooh.
But one thing I did want to talk about is this link that you sent, because I've read the first line of this. First of all, the name of the article is Baby names banned in Mexico. Facebook, Harry Potter, Terminator make list of prohibited names in Sonora.
Sonora, Mexico.
Yeah, Sonora, Mexico.
This is by the Latin Times.
Yep. Thank you for that.
Yep.
But the first line of the
De
article
nada.
is, "What would you do if your name was Scrotum?" Ben, what would you do?
What a gripping opening. We could all learn a little bit something from the writer Armando Tinoco.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hooked now, Armando. That was amazing first line.
You put scrotum in the first sentence, you got Stu's attention.
I gotta read the rest.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm curious because, like, how many people of Mexican descent, Mexican people, would you say are named things like James Bond or Rocky? I guess Rocky could be one. What about Rambo or Terminator or anything even close? Usually it's always like Humberto or fucking Jorge, I guess, or just regular names like Ben or David.
They have shamed the name so badly that they put it on this list that no one would ever be dared be named this ever again. And the interesting thing is, on this list of bands' names in Sonora, the name Judas is not included.
What?
So you can be
you can be named Judas, or Jeebus, but you cannot be named Robocop, Rambo, Pocahontas. It was mostly, according to them, was to protect children from suffering bullying at school.
I mean, I feel like that's one of those things where we don't really need legislation to do this kind of stuff. Because if you're a parent who's like, I'm gonna name my kid U.S. Navy, which is one of the listed names.
But then he went into the U.S. Army.
Then there's all kinds of confusion. But see,
happens?
That's why we don't ban names here in America, because we're land of the free. So
so if someone decided they wanted to name their kid Dos and a Half Cinco, if anything, we would put that person on the podcast.
Exactly.
But, so for
we would like to waste our legislation time on other things.
Yeah.
Like telling people not to drink bleach or disinfectant.
Or vote, for that matter. Don't vote, kids.
Yeah.
It's a waste of time, apparently.
So before we get derailed too far, the reason why I brought up this article was most of the fact is next week is Cinco de Mayo. And since we are since we are the Dos and a Half Cincos podcast, I think it'd be remiss if we didn't celebrate the namesake for our podcast, right? The celebration of our podcast.
The culture of the namesake.
That's right.
I thought our namesake was based off of Dos Chinos.
No, it was so great. Our podcast was so great. They created a day to celebrate it. But yes, we are based on Dos Chinos.
Also, legally, Ben, the answer is no. We are not based off of that.
We may share some letters with them, yes. Yeah. But that's just purely coincidental.
I don't think you can copyright the words dos and cinco or chinos. So
or the number 5incos. What are you talking about?
That one we did copyright.
Oh, okay.
Incos?
5incos?
5incos?
Yeah.
Incos.
Yeah, whatever it is. But yeah, that was the reason why I brought it up. I thought it was kind of interesting. I heard someone else. So in the spirit of Cinco de Mayo, we figured that we would do something, and I came across this article of the band names, and Robocop happened to be on it. So naturally, we'll segue straight into movie we're probably going to doing next week, which would be Robocop, but dubbed in Spanish.
Yes, please God, yes.
Yeah, and we hope we can find that. If we can't happen to find that, I guess we'll have to try to find something else. But I am very determined to make this happen. See if there's a Spanish dub version of Robocop. But now the question becomes: are we watching Robocop 1, 2, or 3?
1.
2014.
No, shut up, Ben. There is no 2014 Robocop.
I wanted to vote for 2 because that one's gold. But number 1 works.
1 is the
best.
best.
Like number 1. Number 1 was the one against the robot.
It's
right?
the origin story.
Yeah.
All right, fine, 1. Wait a minute. You guys like the origin story for this Robocop, but you don't like the origin story of how Jackie and Carter got
That's not
together.
an origin story.
Hold on, let me get
If
my
it
thesis.
wasn't for
Hold
1,
on,
there's
hold
no
on,
point
wait,
in
hold
having
on.
2.
My thesis is somewhere here. It's buried somewhere here.
All
Okay.
right, quick before
Hold
we
on.
go too far down this. So we're gonna
All
shark
right,
dive right
ladies
into
and
season
gentlemen,
3's and episode
there are
1. We're already
2
past our
four.
segment. Too late.
I present to you my
So
thesis on.
and so for season 3, episode 1, we are going into straight into this one. It's Jurassic Shark. In this in this episode, it's the season premiere, season 3, and in it, the sharks are teleported back in time. I thought they were going to run into some other like dinosaurs, but they clearly don't. And then they introduced a brand new crony named Louie for some reason. But other than that, that's pretty much it. And Atlantis. Am I missing anything else from this episode?
You missed the part where Streaks fights Littlefoot's mom.
Oh shit! Don't even get me started. I'm gonna start
Oh,
crying.
you're gonna get Stuart to start tearing up.
No, it's still too soon. It's been like 30 years. It's still too soon.
Look, see, Streaks took the stupid star leaf thing.
No.
Look.
Is that the movie we should be reviewing? Is A Land Before Time in Spanish?
You just no.
Wait,
Something sentimental?
but
What does that have? What does one have to do with the other?
I don't know.
Wait.
It's just throwing that out there since we were just talking about dub movies.
You can watch anything
so-
dubbed.
That's true.
What? Spit it out, Ben.
La Tierra before
Okay.
TM.
Just ask Letty. She's right there, I'm sure.
La Mesa before Taimo.
Wow.
All right. Ben, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. We don't have 2 hours for this podcast. I will give you a chance to do your dissertation for the other, for
Okay, perfect.
the
So we start out
efficacies
in Rush Hour
no.
2 when
Okay, I'm
they
going to mute you again. All right. So we lost. Oh, what was that? We lost Ben. Oh,
Although,
that sucks. All right.
I want
So
that did bring something to the front of my mind I wanted to touch on real quick.
All right, go
That
ahead,
was
Stu.
related to Rush Hour.
Sure.
I mentioned a week or two ago on the podcast that I saw
Mhm.
this thing about Jackie Chan. It was like a documentary of like how he
Oh,
made movies
no.
and stuff. So one of the clips I saw was about when he was filming Rush Hour. And so in Rush Hour 1 is like the whole intro scene where they're kind of introducing Detective Lee, where he's like at that shipyard and he's like chasing down criminals or whatever. He's it's kind of like the intro setup, the sequence for him. From what I saw, when they shot that, because of Hollywood and budgeting, whatever, they didn't give him enough budget, so he had to shoot that entire sequence in one night.
Ooh.
Oh, so they only had enough to be able to shoot. They only had the scene for like 1 day or something.
Yeah, not even one day, one
One
night,
night.
because the scene's at nighttime.
At nighttime. Wow.
And I was like, "What? This guy is insane." You would have never thought that from watching that movie, because everything looks so well done.
So you're saying is 1917 is this cinematic masterpiece because they did a one-shot take in Rush Hour, and they used that technique in 1917.
Yeah, the Jackie Chan technique. Yep.
Yes.
Ah, okay. The I have no budget. You
I
have
think-
to do it all one time.
Yeah, I think Jackie Chan actually ghost directed 1917.
Okay. All right. So
Anyway,
what else
that
did
was,
you?
that was my segue. Sorry.
Oh, that was it. Oh, okay. But yeah, that's impressive knowing that they had very limited time to be able to do that, and that's a pretty complex like string of fight scenes.
Yep.
In that
A
initial
lot of
segment.
stunts.
So,
Yep.
Was there? I don't remember. Was there any explosions in that first?
I don't know,
No.
but there's a
I
part where like
didn't
they
know it was a
slam two
gunfire.
cargo containers together, and he like escapes from getting crushed.
Oh, that was a one take for sure. Jackie one take.
Jackie always okay. Okay.
Jackie one take Chan. Jurassic Shark. What were your guys' thoughts on this one?
I wanted to think that it was going to be like, oh, season 3, they've got the rhythm down now, and maybe they got some more money to like animate a little better, but I don't think they did.
The celebration portion was pretty funny that they just kept going back and forth.
It's like there were some sequences where they like it seemed like they took they put a little more effort into what they were animating, but the animations when you put them together still didn't quite make sense. Like when they first introduced us to Louis the crawfish guy, who sounds
without
like
even introducing
yeah,
him,
with
of
no
course.
intro, he's just there, and we're
Hey,
supposed to
boss.
accept it. Yeah, like hey,
Yeah.
sure thing, boss. Like, or he kind of sounded like Scrappy to me when he first started talking.
Let me at him.
Yeah.
Let me at him.
Puppy.
Actually, you might be
power.
right. If we find out that he actually
Yeah.
is and he acted, it's
Yeah.
like you're on the set of Scooby Doo.
But like,
Oh,
I don't know if
sorry.
you guys remember, and when he first introduced him, he says something like the camera focuses in on him. He says something to Dr. Paradigm, but and his facial expression, his voice is like kind of like he's like being very submissive and like kind of like, oh, I hope he's not mad at me. And then the camera stays on him, and his expression just changes into this like evil, like menacing look for no reason. Like he was just acting like a little bitch 2 seconds ago, and now he's trying to be badass. So I guess the animation, I guess we're still stuck with what we get. No,
and I guess the effort also goes into the catchphrases. So instead
That's
of
true.
shark dive, we got shark glide because Streaks uses a hang glider and glides his way.
Plus the time machine they had to make to send Streaks and Jab back in time. So
my favorite is right before. I don't know if you guys caught this, but when Jab gets sent back in time to go grab Streaks and then go back to his present time, at one point, if you pause it just right, there's no Jab doesn't have a face. It's just the outline of the brown. It's just outline and then colored in shaded brown, and then no face, no eyes, no teeth, no nothing.
Wow.
yeah, so it's almost like they're as the seasons are progressing, they're actually taking out animation. They're like, we have to put these resources somewhere else.
No, I think they started pocketing all the funds. They're like, well, we could reinvest in the show and make this really good, or I could buy this brand new Porsche.
The original Ponzi scheme. They just take the money and run.
That's right. We'll make a really popular Saturday TV, Saturday morning kids TV show, and then do it just for the money.
Actually, Ponzi schemes was from 1915 when the
Nope, keep going. We'll wait.
That's all I got.
Nope.
Okay, the Ponzi scheme is a form of fraud that lures investors and pays profits to early investors with funds from more recent investors.
Wait, that sounds very.
Why do I? Yeah, I was like,
why involved in a Ponzi scheme?
Wait, I've been tricked by pyramid schemes before, but this sounds really legit. How do I get in early?
Yeah, let me get in on this.
No, I want to get in before Ben.
No, I want to get in. You got God. You got God.
Charles Ponzi, the namesake of the scheme, working as a businessman in the office in Boston.
Wait, does he have this memorized? I really hope not.
The scheme is named after Charles
Okay,
Ponzi,
all right, yeah, no, that's clearly reading from Wikipedia. But all right.
Okay.
So outside of the fact that it seems like they kind of mailed in this one, did you guys think it was weird that Jab had to wear a scuba suit?
Yeah,
underwater, and then he took it off to bite the Neptunian submarine, and then put it back on.
I'm gonna be
Can't
honest
sharks
with you.
breathe water?
I was watching this kind of in the background, so this was a really interesting episode for me to watch because I was like half paying attention to it. So I look down, I look up. Oh, we're gonna go get a burger to eat. All right, cool. Keep plugging away whatever I'm doing. Look back up. Who's that lobster guy? All right, whatever. Or not lobster guy. What is he? I can't remember.
Crawfish.
Crawfish. Whatever. And it just I just remember hearing a voice I don't recognize. I'm like, all right, who the fuck is this? All right, whatever. Cool. Look down. Look back up. All right, he just did a flash kick on a dinosaur. That's cool. And then look back down, look back up, and Jab is talking to Ariel. Great. And now he's in a scuba suit. I don't know why he's in a scuba. I thought he was in space. No, it was clearly underwater. So
back in time, of course. Yeah, if you go back to the past, then Atlantis exists.
I guess
Yeah,
that's
That's what the moral of the story is.
I guess that's what
Historical fact, by the way.
right.
In 17,000 BC, according to a historical expert we know, Darren Bohannon,
yeah. Thanks, Jared.
who confirmed that Atlantis was a real city with underwater breathing
And a
people.
street shark.
Yeah,
That's
so
right.
apparently the
It is time
Byzantine
travel.
Empire actually stole all of its technologies and all of its foundations from the Atlanteans.
Wow.
That's
Incredible.
correct.
That makes the Byzantines sounds like a bunch of little bitches.
They are a
Fact.
bunch of little bitches. It is a fact. You can read any book, and the opening statements will always be the Byzantine Empire were the biggest bitches in all of history.
And black leather gloves.
Wow.
Fascinating.
It's
Procedural
amazing.
vibe.
Business. All right. So overall, you guys excited to be able to finish this one this season for Street Sharks and be done with it?
Yeah, I think it would
Or are
be
you guys interested to see where they take this?
I mean, who knows where the hell? There's no rhyme or reason to what they're doing. So
We've lost all continuity. I thought we were gonna get the dad reveal in the beginning of season 3,
Yeah.
but we got nothing. We got nothing.
when I started looking for it on YouTube and I clicked it, I got like 5 minutes into season 3, episode 11 by accident, and I was like, "Oh, that makes sense. Why none of this follows the season finale from season 2." As I when I watched the first episode, I'm like, "Well, I guess
Bad enough.
we're just still not getting any continuity here from
Yeah,
the
so it doesn't
finale."
matter where we start. We could have literally just picked one out of a hat and
Pretty
did
much.
episode 14. It
I
would have been
wouldn't
the same.
I wouldn't be surprised if the last episode doesn't even touch on their missing father. So,
Okay.
I have a
Alright.
question. So,
Question.
from my understanding, because I had to go back, rewind just to find out why they're fighting dinosaurs and talking to mermaids and shit. Apparently, Dr. Paradigm built a time machine.
It needs
and his
antimatter.
Yes, and his ultimate plan was to get a dinosaur, right?
a street
I thought it
shark
was
based
to
dinosaur.
to send him back in time or to bring a dinosaur here to kill the
Yes.
street sharks.
So, using time travel, he could have done anything else.
And he could have went back in time to make sure the street sharks were never created.
He could have gone back in time to accrue more funds. He could have gone back in time to any point where he failed to kill the street sharks and actually killed them, learning from his mistakes.
I think
He
this
could have
is
gone
a
back.
question you can ask of any time travel movie or TV show where it's like,
Back
why
to the
didn't you
future.
why didn't you just time travel back to before you did the stupid thing or
But
before
then you
that?
wouldn't have the time machine to time travel.
Well, them's the breaks.
All right. Well, we're spending too much time on this one. So before we jump into our movie of the week this week, I wanted to do a box office rundown because it seems like there have been theaters across the country that have registered some activity. As of April 20th, there were, I believe, 2 theaters that are currently open. I don't know the locations of these theaters, but
Like actual sit-in theaters, not drive-in.
correct.
Drive. Yeah.
April 20th, the number one movie in the nation was Resistance with a total of $261.
So, like,
261.
8 people went. What is that movie even?
I have no idea.
I bet it does. I bet it's not going to be as cool as the title suggests.
I'm pretty sure you're right. And so for this week, April 27th, for this week, let's see, they're doing every day now, it seems like. So over the weekend, the number one grossing movie for this past weekend was True History of the Kelly Gang with a total of $1,906 in a whopping 5 theaters, and has spent 3 weeks in the number one spot.
Wow.
So yeah, there are movies if you can find them, but it's slim pickings out there for sure.
So apparently, see, this is why. See, this kind of goes back to the Scott Pilgrim vs. the World movie, because I'm looking at the IMDb page for Resistance, and it's like Jesse Eisenberg is the leading role, And I was like, oh yeah, we just saw him in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. And then it took me like, a few seconds to be like, wait a minute. That's not, they're not the same person, but they are the same person. So I just wanted to.
Well, that's been proven.
Yep.
So we'll jump straight into our movie of the week. That was your box office rundown. Slim pickings for sure. Most movies are probably going to go direct to consumer at this point. And I think AMC said that they were going to ban any Universal pictures because of that, because they said that they were considering more, direct to home venues or possibilities or options. And AMC was like, no, we
don't
want
wanna.
your movie. Yeah, I know, but right now I don't think they are able to stand on any grounds that are not shaky at this point.
Well, Regal also got behind that, so
Oh, really?
yeah.
So banning all Universal pictures as well.
Yep. And another movie theater chain I am not familiar with.
What's it called?
Cinemark? I don't know.
Oh,
What
that's
Cinemark-
like everywhere else in the country.
Yeah, it's AMC's the biggest one, and then I think Cinemark and then Regal is really big here, right?
Yeah. Oh wait,
Yeah, I
no,
think-
Cinemark. I do know Cinemark. Okay.
Okay. Well, at least it's not the Alamo, right?
Yeah,
the Alamo is like
Alamos.
super niche. So
That's true. They're really there about the theater experience. And if you want to check that experience out, you can check out our double feature, double Crunch Box Supreme episode where we covered El Camino and Jay and Silent Bob Reboot.
Hey, you did it right this time.
Yeah.
Woo.
Because I think that one's also available on Amazon Prime now for free or something
Although
like that.
we didn't see Jay and Silent Bob at the Alamo, but
No,
we
we
saw El
didn't.
No.
there.
We saw that at AMC,
Right.
but we did see El Camino at the AMC at the Alamo, and that was
And we got to see
fantastic.
Aaron Paul. Oh wait,
Yep.
no, we didn't.
Yeah, we did. Yep, we did. Totally saw Aaron Paul on screen as intended. So, we'll go straight into our movie of the week. This week it is Dredd. This is the Sylvester Stallone and Rob Schneider
Vehicle.
vehicle. Ben, take
90s
it away.
blockbuster.
That's right.
Wait. Wait. Sidebar. So
And
we're
Ashley Judd was also in this movie.
So we are watching
Judd
we
Dredd.
did watch the
Judd Dredd. I like it. That's what we're going with.
we actually did watch the Sylvester Stallone one, right? Right?
I mean, I could probably recall enough of it
Right.
from memory if
I'm
that was
just
the
kidding.
case.
Right.
Go ahead.
Right?
No, shut up.
Okay, well, I have an hour left of it.
It's actually
playing
Diane
in the
Lane. I got it
background.
confused.
Okay, he's going up a building. He's in an elevator. Okay, it says I have an hour and a half left of the 2012 movie. Is that enough to go off of? Okay, I'm just going to do it. Fuck it. All right.
I think you're trying to.
Anyways,
set up a bit
the
here.
film takes place in 2080 and depicts a dystopian world and a crime-ridden metropolis, Mega City 1. Following an unspecified disaster that turned Earth into a cursed wasteland, the survivors establish a corps of judges whose roles combines that of police, judge, jury, and executioner. The film follows Judge Joseph Dredd, one of the most dedicated street judges, who has been framed for murder by his own half-brother, the psychotic Rico.
Okay, we're jumping the shark here.
Wait. That's the right one, right?
And then Rob Schneider shows up, and he's the sidekick.
As they climb.
Okay. Here we go. Okay, here's the real
Focus.
Roses are red. They didn't do meth. You have been judged. The sentence is death.
That's what you wanted to know, what rhymed with death?
Yeah. Yeah, it was worth it. All right, cool. All right,
This
moving
is Ben's
on.
last episode on I like the transition that you did on there, but so as we jump in, when was the last time you saw this movie, Stu?
Not that. I mean, it'd been a couple years, but I had seen it a number of times before. But yeah, what thing I was wondering? Did you? I guess for any of these types of movies from the '90s, whether it be like like this one or like Demolition Man or whatever, did you ever get the vibe that they were like, this was like a serious action movie? Like this is supposed to be serious time. There's some action going on right now. Do you ever guys
I
get
felt
that
like
vibe?
every '90s action film felt like they had to have like comedy relief.
Right. Like it's just like it's action, but here's some goofs also.
For those who didn't want an action film out of an action movie, action with an action star in it,
Yeah.
here's some comic relief, just in case you got dragged here and didn't know what kind of movie this is.
Yeah. I mean, like Rob Schneider might as well have been like Adam Sandler or something. Could you imagine?
But by the way, I was joking. We did review Dredd, the 2012 movie directed
Yeah.
by Pete Travis.
The
Oh
much.
fuck! Wait. Okay, let me press play again. All right, hold on. I'll catch up, guys. All right.
All right, we're gonna live cast the rest of Ben watching the movie.
All right.
Ben, what's he doing right now?
Okay. He's in the elevator. Okay. There's Cersei Lannister.
Oh shit, was that her?
Oh yeah, that was Lena Headey. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
history. Yeah.
Oh.
He goes, that's why I liked her so much.
What do you mean? That's
Oh,
why I hated her so much.
You liked Cersei.
Well, I like to hate her. There, how about that?
Yeah, she did a good job at being hateable.
Yeah.
This one. So, Stu. So it's been a while since you watched Judge Dredd. What about Dredd?
Oh, so Dredd is the one I had seen a number of times. I haven't watched Judge Dredd in probably a long time. Like, I don't know, call it 10, 15 years.
So I went ahead and I watched both of them.
All right,
and
show off.
I know. I just wanted to, because we were thinking about possibly doing one of those series where we see where are they now, right? And they did the new reboot of
Judge
one of the
Dredd,
other.
where is he now?
He lost the judge part, and he's now just Dredd.
He's CPA Dredd.
Correctional officer for juvenile detention center Dredd.
It's an illegal deduction.
Actually, I think that was The Simpsons, right? It was like they did like these spoofs, and it's like at 7, Conan the librarian.
Oh yeah.
This book is overdue, and then slices him in half. It's great. But yeah, I would definitely watch Judge Dredd CPA. That'd be great. So yeah, it'd been a while since you had seen the original Judge Dredd. But from what you remember it, this is a vastly different movie, right? This is much more
grittier,
darker theme. Yeah. No comic relief whatsoever.
Yeah.
I don't think there was any like funny moments to this, right?
I mean, there was like, it wasn't like comic relief type funny moments, but there were a couple of like like kind of moments where like
but
well, I mean, I don't know, does this count? I don't really know. How does the spoiler zone work anymore with these types of movies? Do we just go, doesn't matter, it's all one?
I mean, people should have seen this movie by now. It's an 8-year-old movie.
Yeah.
So
the part where the
spoiler zone is in effect.
Yeah.
It's in effect as soon as we jump into this.
Yeah.
Wait,
Okay.
so this is pretty much like when Jab was underwater and then he puts on his scuba suit anyways. So we've been in the spoilers on this whole time, even though we don't need it.
You've been under the effects of slow-mo the entire time.
Whoa.
That is one thing that probably I didn't remember about this movie. I think the last time I saw it was a year after it came out, and I think that was the last time since this recent one I saw it. I don't remember them using that much slow motion in that they really used the crap out of the slow motion in this.
Well, the main bad drug was called slow-mo, so I guess it makes sense. What was I saying?
The comedy.
Oh yeah, like the homeless guy getting crushed by the door.
Yeah.
That was kind of like, ha, he told you to leave and you didn't. That's kind of a dark comedy moment.
Yeah.
There was another scene I think too, like like the hot shot thing. But there's no like real not like a Rob Schneider type comic relief, but it has little moments here and there. But primarily, it's like the dark, gritty action movie.
What about you, Ben? What was the last time you saw this movie?
Oh, so this was actually I've seen it 4 times. This is my 4th time seeing it, and my viewing previous to this was just by coincidence. It was a few months ago, actually. But I definitely enjoyed watching it again.
Yeah, it's a good watch.
Yeah, real good watch.
I know it's Darren's favorite movie, like of all time. So
Oh, perfect. Great.
Really, he
Because of
loves
the
Sylvester
historical trends of
Stallone?
this movie. He loves Rob Schneider.
yeah,
Is it just
he's
because he likes
he's a
saying
big
the
Rob.
word dystopia?
He's a big Rob Schneider fan.
Yeah.
Ah,
Who
I
isn't?
see. I see. That's also true.
Come on,
Who
Deuce
isn't?
Bigelow. Come on.
Yeah.
And Deuce Bigelow too.
And
The biggest deuce.
the hot chick.
And
Big Daddy. He was also in Big Daddy.
oh shit.
The
And
animal. Rob Schneider.
The animal. Where does that reference from? Is that from
South
Family
Park.
Guy?
No, it's from South
Oh,
Park.
South Park. I was gonna look something up and I completely forgot. All right. Oh, so since the last time you guys had seen this, did you guys remember this as vividly, or did it feel as fast paced as it did? Because I did not realize that it was already over by the time it was over. I was like, "Whoa! It's already been an hour and a half." I lost complete track of time while watching this.
I guess that's a sign of a good movie. Then
Mhm.
you're just enthralled in what's going on.
And sad that we won't be able to see a sequel out of it, because I think this would have been a great
Yeah.
great
No-
candidate for a sequel.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, oh man, it'd be great if there was a sequel, but or even like a series. I'd be down to watch a series.
they are developing a Judge Dredd series for
show.
Netflix. Yeah, for Netflix. But
Please God,
I
yes.
haven't heard any news of it since 2018.
Fuck.
Yeah, it was supposed to be titled Mega City 1, but I don't know what happened to it.
Megacity.
Oh, come on, coronavirus. If we can't get anything out of coronavirus, can we at least get them to like pour in a bunch of effort into these types of projects like Judge Dredd, the series?
Oh
Right.
man, that'd be like reminiscent of like The Punisher on Netflix.
Starring Carl Urban.
Ooh, man, if we could get Carl Urban back. Ooh.
I don't know if I would, if whoever it is, if they do it, and if it's not Carl Urban, whoever it is, they better not take their helmet off the entire goddamn series. Even when he's
kind of like The Mandalorian.
even if he's just like taking a shower.
Yeah, he just has it on. Just
Yeah,
has
yeah.
the shot of him.
He goes to the shower and he's just helmet
It's
still
got
on
with the
Never
just
take it
the
off.
permanent scowl just on his face, just constant frown face.
Hey, I gotta say, when I was watching this movie, I tried making that scowl as long as Carl Urban did throughout the movie, and holy fuck, it got tiring after like 5 seconds.
Yeah, like I was thinking this, like, man, that his face must have been so sore doing that movie.
Yeah,
or he permanently got stuck like that.
Yeah,
And he was never ever not able to unscowl ever again.
If you look closely at the new Star Trek movies, they actually had to CGI his mouth.
Hey, how come he looks like one of those cartoons where the guy's like upside down? Like they use their chins to do all the talking. So I realized that there is a lot of things that were in this movie that kind of remind me of some other movies that were, for example, a year before this was released. Raid the Redemption also had a very similar plot line. Did you guys notice that at all?
Yeah, so I was actually going to say something similar. Yeah, it's a drug bust that gone wrong, and the whole progression of the plot is really similar, right? They're all trapped, and their only option is to pretty much go up and traverse each level, and each level brings its new set of challenges, right? It's like almost like a video game. Yeah, so I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, it was like the American Raid, the Raid Redemption.
Yeah, this one's not, unfortunately there's no Jaka in this one, but
Jaka
no,
with a lot more violence.
Oh yeah, and a lot more like brain squishing and
a lot more graphic violence. Just what you would expect of the American version of something.
Yeah. So if they did Raid the Redemption and then with Judge Dredd back to back, that would have been great.
But I do remember, because I remember like the slow-mo scenes like you were talking about, how there's like so many of them. What I didn't remember was how cool some of the scenes were, some of those slow-mo scenes were, where like
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the first ones when they're first in the building, they like breach a room and there's like a bunch of guys in there,
Mm-hmm.
and it's showing it from like the slow-mo perspective of everyone who's high off of slow-mo, and then it
Uh-huh.
does like quick, like real quick, like little shots of Dredd just like fucking it up, just like shooting everyone,
And the
where it's just like
reactions and everything.
yeah,
Oh,
and
and
then it
like
all
the flesh like exploding from
yeah.
like the bullets and
I
stuff.
thought I thought that was like really really amazing, really well done. One of my favorite scenes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely easy to see like this is how you use slow-mo. I mean, I thought from watching the very first like 20 minutes, you would think the entire movie's in slow-mo. I'm like, oh wow, this is gonna be a long movie. Um, but then it turns out that they did actually some pretty good places, and they actually were able to use it um,
They
for effect instead of
tied it all up.
yeah. So and I noticed that his Carl Urban's version of Judge Dredd is not just a guy with a deep voice; it's very raspy and talks like Christian Bale from The Dark Knight. Sounds like that.
Yeah.
I wondered, was that also borrowed?
No, I think original Judge Dredd was just hey yo, I'm Judge Dredd. Yo.
I am the law. I can't do it.
He didn't make any
No,
attempt.
Adrian, I am the.
Yeah. It's kind of like that one
Law.
person who says that he's really good at impressions and then starts his impressions with, "Hi, I'm the
I'm the
person" or
person I'm
whatever.
impersonating.
And then says something that person would say, and it's just like that wasn't even close. What are you talking about? But yeah, no, Carl Urban, awesome, and he was also in The Boys, so that was
Ooh.
also anything that he ties his name to, really good.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen a Carl Urban movie. I wasn't like, all right, Carl Urban, I see you.
Mm-hmm.
Even
Actually, I
Doom,
feel like every movie I've seen him in, I
Yeah.
was like, Carl Urban, I see you,
I see you, Carl Urban.
I
He's
see you, Carl
definitely
Urban.
one of those names that you kind of get excited for when he says that he's got his name attached to it. It
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna
usually
do a
means that he has a genuine interest in it. He wants to be there.
we'll do a quick Carl Urban 2020 check here.
To see if there's anything coming up.
Coming up,
The
untitled Star
Boys
Trek
season 2.
sequel.
Well, obviously.
No, it doesn't say anything. There's only 2 projects after The Boys. One of them is the untitled Star Trek sequel, and some other movie called Cold Providence. But yeah, nothing. Nothing. Yeah, what the hell? The Boys season 2, is that never gonna happen, or what's going on?
Production might have been affected by
Oh,
coronavirus.
damn you, coronavirus!
Man, this thing is really effing things up for sure.
Yep.
What were your guys' favorite moments from this movie outside of the slow mo?
Shoot up scene.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You. I guess I'll go first. Probably the opening scene where he's chasing down that those criminals, and like when he like the those guys in the van take out the pedestrian. He's like, "Control, they just wiped out us innocent. I'm taking them down." That was pretty dope. And then followed up with that when he's like, he has the guy, he has a hostage situation thing, and he does the hot shot round into his face.
Ooh, I said hot shot.
Shot. In terms of like the gun shooting and just like the tactical,
Mm-hmm.
Stu, how accurate is that?
It looked pretty good. It wasn't too bad. One thing I noticed, which is kind of like annoying to me, in a couple scenes, his
Turn the
hand.
gun sideways.
No, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that necessarily. Once there's like when he's holding it, his hand's kind of low on his gun, like where he's holding it. Like it should be as high up as possible, but that's the only gripe I have, I think. And I don't consider like the fact that seemingly has like infinite ammo, or has like a ammo manufacturing inside of his gun that can switch all the different round types, because it's the future. Like
Yep.
you're supposed to have that kind of stuff. So
And he did run out of bullets at the end, so
Yeah, he did, but
Yeah.
I only saw him reload like once or twice.
yeah.
Yeah, it makes you wonder what's in those magazines.
Yeah, and that's the other
Future.
thing. Yeah, it's the future.
The future's in the magazine.
I saw the magazines and they look like normal Glock magazines, so they could have done a little better there. But whatever, it's the future. It's whatever.
Future.
It's the future.
What about you, Ben? Favorite scene?
Oh man, it is. That's pretty difficult. I don't know. I feel like in general, this movie was just one great sequence. There wasn't when I'm considering what is my best or favorite scene, that means that there had to be a scene I really didn't enjoy, and there was probably only one scene I didn't enjoy. So the rest of the movie was just not like a nonstop ride, you know. It was like I was always looking forward to the next part, and I've already seen this 4 times, and I gotta tell you, it still holds up really well. You know, I'm still really engaged by the whole thing, and I can't get enough of how stylish this fucking movie is. Whether it is that that first breach scene where they go through that room where everyone's using slow mo, or if it's just Dredd talking to Anderson, and him play his cold demeanor playing off of Anderson's naivety, and her him trying to assess her the whole time. It's honestly just a really enjoyable ride the whole way through.
So the whole thing.
Yeah, the whole thing.
I
Except
think for
one scene.
me, what scene was that?
It's kind of. I felt like the whole scene towards the end where it was
The credits?
no, well,
These
that
credits
was me.
could be more Dread.
It was the scene where it was Dredd versus what was his name? Lex?
Oh, the corrupt judge.
Yeah, the corrupt judge, and
Mhm.
where Dredd says, "Wait," I felt like they milked that a little bit.
Oh,
Yeah, but that was literally it, though. I mean,
yeah,
every other part of the movie, I'm just like,
yeah.
wow, yeah, let's go.
For me, my favorite scene was at the very, very end where he throws Mama out the window,
Ooh,
and he goes, "What are?" I love how he's like, yeah, he brute forces away to a lot of things, but he also like he shows off that he's like thinking about stuff. He goes, "How far up do you think we are? How far do you think that has a rate like, has a range of?" And then he like throws her up against the window, and then gives her a hit of her own slow mo, and then throws her out the window, and then you see as she's crashing into the floor, she's dying, like everything's kind of like splattering, but then they zoom into that
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 shot
like
was
chip
so
that's in her.
fucking cool.
Yeah. Her
Wow,
face getting squished.
cinematography at its best.
I feel like
So yeah,
it's
that was
probably a fairly underrated movie. I feel like.
It actually
super
bombed.
underrated. Yeah, it didn't do
Bombed.
well. It
Really?
actually made less money than it cost to make. So
That's
that's the reason why we
unfortunate.
never got a sequel, even though theatrically, in terms of like critically, it is actually pretty. It was pretty critically acclaimed. It was like over 90% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Well, okay, here's a
It's rated R. Okay,
no.
Ben.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, Ben, why didn't it do well?
Well, there was a lot
Sly
that
Stallone wasn't in it, huh?
it's a very niche genre, right? Or not genre. It's a very niche property, right? Not a lot of people know too much about Judge Dredd. They might have heard the name, but if you go to the average moviegoer and say, "Hey, what do you think of Judge Dredd?" They're probably not going to know anything about it.
What do
Maybe
you
they'll
mean? This I know. They know the Sylvester Stallone version.
yeah, they don't like a lot of people don't know the comics or the actual world of Mega City 1, right? So there's not a lot to get excited about there. Carl Urban isn't like exactly the biggest name in movies, and not and
At
like
the
on top of that,
time.
at the time, and now like we're also going off the fact that this movie I think was hopping on the back of the whole 3D movie craze, right? Where every movie was like 3D, 3D, 3D. This was another one of those Dread 3D movies.
Oh, what? We could have
Hmm.
watched this in 3D?
Could have been
Yeah, so
falling off the peach tree in 3D.
yeah, put on your 3D glasses now. But aside from that, there was definitely even some concern within the movie going world just because of the news surrounding this movie. At the end of its production lifetime, the director actually got kicked off the project, and
What?
there, yeah. So Pete, is it Pete Travis? Peter Travis? He
Mm-hmm.
he was kicked out of the editor's room, like during post production. When after they finished everything, the producers actually locked him out, and, there were a lot of rumors circulating what happened because no representatives of Peter Travers actually commented on anything. So a lot of people are wondering what is actually going on. Was it like something amicable? What was it? And a lot of rumors on set were indicating that it was the director having a fight with the producers. So
About what?
no one could
About like
confirm if
creative rights or something?
no one knows. It's like, was it creative differences? Was it creative rights? Or no one knows. So there were even talks about them doing reshoots. Like no one knows how extensive it was. So this happened in the news broke out in 2011, which was, um, I want to say within a year of when the movie came out. So there was definitely a lot of rumor circulating. Usually when that happens, it usually indicates that this movie is gonna fucking suck, right? If the director's
Mm.
gone, that means producers have lost control of the project and they're just gonna stitch something together. However, the movie was under a very particular, unusual uh, circumstance where the writer and other producer of the movie, Alex Garland, was working closely with the director. So he actually took over after Peter Travers left, and he finished the movie.
Interesting.
Well, that's what the news reports from the movie studio actually said, that Alex Garland would be finishing post production. However, there were still rumors saying that he was doing much more than that, and no one could confirm nor deny it.
Yeah, but that's still a really strong name to tie to the at least finishing of a movie.
Well, at the time, Alex Garland hadn't done really anything. He
28
was,
days later.
yeah, he was a writer. He wasn't a
That's true.
director or anything at the time. His first feature film wasn't come for like 2 or 3 more years after the fact. So during this time, it was still really up in the air, and a lot of people were very skeptical of it. Recently, in 2018, Carl Urban was on a interview for The Boys, I think, and the topic came up of reprising the role of Dredd. And he said, unfortunately, like he said that he would love to do it again, but he doesn't think it's going to happen anytime soon. But unprovoked, he did mention that you may not know this, but Alex Garland pretty much became the director of the film afterwards, and he reshot the whole movie and everything. So it was, so he pretty much confirmed that this was Alex Garland's first movie that he directed and that he ghost directed. Alex Garland, when they actually interviewed him about the whole process and asked him about the rumors, he said that he loves Dredd, but there's no way in hell that he would want to revisit like doing Dredd again because of the whole experience, and he would not delve into any details about it. So it's really interesting that this movie that was under so much shit, that had all these points going for it to make it a terrible, outright awful movie, became so fucking cool and so good.
Do you
I think
think?
that
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it really fuels my personal bias into why I love this movie so much.
Okay.
Yeah,
Do you
Because
think
despite all of it, it still was able to get through.
still came out good?
it
Mm-hmm.
still came out incredibly good. I know there are some flaws with it, but god damn do I love it. It's aesthetic, it's style. Carl Urban's demeanor throughout the whole fucking thing. He was the man. He was like a force in nature, and I really did like that. Even though I have never I've never seen the Sly version of the movie.
Oh,
But I do know one of the points of contention of it was that Sly took off his helmet, and it kind of humanized him almost, right?
yeah. I
Mm-hmm.
think in comparison, the original, I think he spent too much time with his helmet off.
Yeah, because it was Sly. He
But
wanted to
that's
make it.
where the money is at.
Yeah, but you can see, no, the money for a Dredd movie is the mouth and chin area, and Sly's got a pretty
Strong
defined
chin.
chin,
That's right.
so like you can keep a helmet on him, I think, but the rest of his face is kind of goofed up. So, uh, whereas Carl Urban, like he's got his helmet on the entire movie, which I very much appreciate, kind of like in The Mandalorian, where it's just you only get his emote any emote you get is just from the window of his helmet, which is
window of
pretty
his
much the
soul.
same, emote the entire movie, which is also great. Even like when he gets shot, he's just like it's the same face, just like, oh, I've been shot.
Except there's blood coming out of
Except
it.
now there's blood now. Yeah. But I was gonna ask with this whole thing about the director and stuff.
Yeah.
Do you wonder if it turned out that what's his name, Alex Garland,
Yeah.
turned out to actually have reshot the whole thing? Do you think the original Dredd version that we may have gotten may have been more in the vein of the original Dredd, where it was like comic? Oh yeah, Rob Schneider was back.
Oh, okay.
Do
I
you
see
think
what you're asking.
Do you think maybe the original Dredd that the original director had was like more comical, like more in the same vein the original was?
You
Do you
know,
or
I'm not too familiar with what this other director has done. I looked at his work, but honestly, I just don't know too much about it, so it's kind of hard to gauge.
no.
I don't imagine too much, but
I remember like I was looking at his work, and he has Vantage Point is one of them. That was 4 years prior to Dread. And some of the artistic choices that he makes, like those quick action shots where there's multiple perspectives that are kind of like stitched together, that part is in Dread, right? Where they get the portion where there's the Gatling gun, or I don't even know what you call it, the minigun that they're using,
Mm-hmm.
and then they're swapping back and forth, as in like you see where the bolts are coming from, and then at the same time you're also getting what's happening to them on the other side of it. That's from that like is part of his signature, I think, from one of the other movies I saw that he had before.
okay.
But that's the only one I know of. The other ones I've never seen.
Hmm. Yeah, it's kind of
So
hard to gauge really like what could have been, what would have been the perfect director's cut of the movie. Well, we may never see it. We may never know what the full story behind this movie is because all we have for a single source of truth is the that Pete Travers was forced out of the editor's room. He was off the project, and Carl Urban confirmed that Alex Garland did have a larger role than what was let on. We don't know what capacity that was, but we just know that this wasn't like a perfect, clean cut movie that didn't have any any obstacles.
So, despite the fact that it did have all those issues, if it had done better in the box office, do you think there'd be more of a desire from him to go ahead and take credit if they had to reshoot the whole thing? Do you think that's why it's shrouded? Is because there's like nobody kind of wants to take credit for the entire thing because it may not have not done so well in the box office, even though it is a great movie in and of itself.
I would say that there is a larger story, and we just don't know what it is because, I mean, Alex Garland, he definitely loves the world of sci-fi. This isn't the first, this wasn't the last sci-fi film he's done. He went on to do Ex Machina. He went on to do Annihilation. He's doing the shows for, I
Boo.
think. Hey.
I changed.
I knew. I was like, I know where he's gonna go with this, and I'm waiting for it.
Actually,
Stu,
you know what?
cute.
This movie kind of sucked. It was really boring and like
It's very grainy. Doesn't
Dude,
have any plot.
didn't
Doesn't. I
go
don't get it.
anywhere and
I
like
can't wait until we do Annihilation next week,
which
right?
is
Right,
never.
David? Right, David? We're doing Annihilation next week, right?
No, stop strong arming me into doing Angry Birds 2. We already reviewed that.
uh, but
So
well,
tune in next week. We'll be reviewing Angry Birds 2 per Ben's choice.
David, didn't you already watched Angry Birds 2?
Yeah, but he didn't get to review it on the
I
podcast.
watched Angry Birds 1 twice. Meh. I don't know why I did
Are you gonna tell us that Angry Birds 2 is better than Angry Birds 1?
that. No. That's impossible. Oh, sorry, Stu, you were saying?
Was I? I don't know if I was.
All right, fine. Angry Birds 2. Oh, God. Can you believe this
Spanish
too?
dub.
Yep. Spanish. Actually, I think we might have be luck.
I think whatever
Actually,
movie.
did you guys ever watch the TV show on Netflix, Kingdom?
No.
No, that's the one
It's
with
a Korean drama about like a
Oh, the
dynasty, but it
Zombos.
includes
Oh,
zombies. Correct.
oh
That
my
one has a Spanish voiceover with English subtitles.
Interesting.
What?
That's available.
That sounds like putting a Korean translation into Google Translate to translate it to Spanish, and then Google Translate to English.
Correct. Excellente. That is exactly what it is. So any other thoughts about Dredd? Stu, Ben?
I am the law.
Don't
Close
end up
enough.
in the ISO cubes.
That's true. Stuart, favorite line?
Shit.
Ooh.
There's so many of them.
I know.
I don't know.
Ben,
Pretty much
favorite
anytime he
quote?
delivered a line, kind of like in The Boys, where it's like, every line, I like it.
Yeah,
That's
seriously.
true. All right,
Carl
fine.
Urban really sells the fuck out of his lines and his character.
Yeah. Real quick question before we wrap up.
Okay.
Did they ever touch, or do you think that Anderson didn't or couldn't read his mind because his mental fortitude is just so tough, or did she just not attempt it to read his mind?
I thought she did.
Did she?
Yeah, well, at the beginning she was reading his mind, but then they cut her off, saying, "Okay, that's enough."
Oh right.
Oh yeah, because they were in
that was
they were
before
testing her psychic abilities.
Yeah, that was before they were partnered up, though. I'm saying after they partnered up.
I guess she, based off of her character, if we're going by the logic that was set out by the rule of this world, or the rules of this world, she seems to be a very naive, and she genuinely believes in, good in the world. So I would say that she was trying not to invade his privacy, maybe, not, it wasn't necessary for her to read his mind.
I see. I prefer to think that Judge Dredd was just so mentally tough that she couldn't penetrate his mental fortress.
I like to think that it was that, there was something more to him, and it was something dark and brooding. And
They did allude to that in the opening scene, but I was like, wait, what is it?
But that's what I like, because it makes him so mysterious and like a force of nature rather than a character.
Right. Okay.
That's what I like, because they didn't take off his helmet. They didn't really give him, too many signs of weakness. Even when he was shot, he just got the fuck back up and kept going. He was like the embodiment of this world's justice.
The law.
He is the law. Ugh.
Anyways, that was it.
Yeah,
Okay.
Dave.
So those are your favorite quotes. You guys just picked the entire movie.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay. For me, my favorite was
No one
the scene in the academy. It's my show, all right? I'm kidding. This is the scene in the academy where he's teaching all the cadets. He walks over to the Kevlar armor and he fires at it and he says, "Kevlar 9 helmet and body armor, yours when you graduate." And then he hands over to the gun, and he lawgiver 2 25-round sidearm with mission variable voice program ammunition, signal flare, and then he fires it. He says, "Yours if you graduate." And then he walks over to the Lawmaster, which is the motorcycle. Mark IV Lawmaster, improved model with dual onboard laser cannons, vertical takeoff and landing capability. Range, 500 kilometers. And then they try to turn it on, it malfunctions. He goes, "Yours if you can ever get it to work." Favorite line. The entire,
wow.
favorite thing for that movie.
Even I've never seen it. Even I know that's from Rocky 1. What the fuck?
That is not from All right. So we'll go ahead and wrap this one up. So next week, if we can find it, we will be covering RoboCop in Spanish with English subtitles. That's English dubbed into Spanish. Yeah, whatever.
In honor of Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah, I mean, unless we find something else that's a little bit more suitable, maybe it's a Selma Hayek movie. But you'll have to tune in next week to find out.
God, yes.
Yeah, so make sure to like and subscribe on wherever you're getting the podcast at: SoundCloud, Spotify, YouTube, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're doing that. Follow us on Twitter. Make sure to check us out on Wednesdays or Thursdays at 7 o'clock for our Dose and Half Cinco's Game Time Vision. You know what we're talking about.
Ultimate Deluxe Turbo Knuckles.
Streaming Turbo Knuckles. That'll be going live as well. As always, I have been your host, David.
And I'm Stuart. Okay.
There it is.
We're back to
Get
this again.
Finally, it's taken so much conditioning to lure you into this false sense of security. Oh,
I feel like Ben's doing a
Delicious.
bit with this. I don't understand what the bit is though. So
Well, I
not
understand.
a
It's a
bit.
bit's a
Life.
bit.
Get
You
used
kind of
to
got to go with it. So don't forget to tip your Reiki masters next time you see them. Make sure to practice social distancing. Wash your hands. Stay home if you can. Unless you got to do number 2. Is
yeah,
that
don't
the
go
same?
number 2 in your home is what
That's
David's
right.
saying.
Yeah, do it somewhere else
Do it
outside.
in public.
Make sure when you go outside, wear a mask. Be safe. And we'll check you guys on the next one. Okay, bye.